Hello, welcome back to Sorare Assist. So I've got another Stocks FC video for you today. This time I'm going to be looking at some more IPO players. There is 4 players launching on Stocks FC this week commencing the 17th of July. If you like this video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you're not signed up to Stocks FC, then sign up using the link below to get started today. You can also sign up to Sorare as well, of course. There is a link to that also. All details are in the description. So let's kick off then, guys. As I said, today I'm going to be reviewing the IPO players, which are these 4 players here. So we've got Eze, Da Silva, Wood and Virgil Van Dijk. I'm going to be rating them all in terms of their suitability to the scoring matrix on Stocks FC Fantasy Football, and also their overall rating as an asset on Stocks FC, taking into account the player's matrix suitability, their age, international utility, European utility, and of course their current club that they're playing for. So let's kick off then, guys, and look at the first player. So the first player is Aberechi Eze of Crystal Palace. He's a midfielder on Stocks FC and of course Crystal Palace. His IPO date was on the 17th of July 2023 and it's going for around 50p per stock when it's released on the 17th of July. He can play on the left attacking wing, and you can also play as an attacking midfielder, midfielder central as well, and on the left of midfield. His strengths are playmaking and passing. His weaknesses are aerial duels. Last season then, for Crystal Palace, he's played 38 games in the Premiership, 10 goals and 4 assists. So he did really well for Crystal Palace last season. Played 1 game in the FA Cup and also 1 game in the AFL Cup. He also had 1 game for England as well in the European qualification. In terms of scores then, so this is based on the scores from last season's stats and the scores that it would have got on the Stocks FC scoring matrix in the games that he started. So as you can see, he's got pretty good scores here, has he actually, from last season's scores and data. So he's got 2 scores in the 40 to 49 range, 1 score in the 50 to 59, 4 scores in the 60 to 69 range, 2 in the 70 to 79, 2 in the 80 to 89, and also 1 in the 90 to 100 plus. So really, really good play, this guy, in terms of the scoring matrix. Did really well last season, and I was quite surprised by these scores once I'd analysed all the data. His top 3 scores were 91, 85 and 82. His average score would have been 37 on average last season. Overall then, so great matrix suitability. The other positive is his age, still fairly young. Negatives is he's got no international football. I know he did have that appearance with England, but I don't know if he's quite a regular just yet. And of course, no European football for Crystal Palace next season. Overall though, his matrix suitability is 4 out of 5 stars, which represents world-class matrix suitability. His Stocks FC rating overall, give him a 5 out of 10, so he should do well next season because he has got that matrix suitability by the looks of things. Obviously the only letdowns is the no international utility or no European club football utility. But overall, 5 out of 10 is not too bad and he should do well overall. Next up we've got Josh Da Silva of Brentford. Midfielder for them, and his IPO date is on the 18th of July 2023 and his price is going to be 25p per stock. His strengths are ball control and no outstanding weaknesses. Last season for Brentford then, he had 36 games in the Premier League, 4 goals and 2 assists. FA Cup he had 1 appearance and he had 2 appearances in the AFL Cup. Scores wise last season then, it's looking pretty bleak. In terms of scores in the 40-49 range, he did quite a lot in there, to be fair. Got 11 scores in that range. But of course, these scores are not really that good. And he got 1 score in the 50 to 59 range and no scores in the 60 plus range. So pretty poor really from Da Silva last season in the few starts that he had. His highest scores were 56, 44 and 39. His average last season would have been a poor 18. So in terms of positives then, his age is a positive, he's still fairly young. Negatives though, poor matrix suitability, no European football and no international utility. Overall, his matrix rating, I've given him a 2 out of 5, which is below average and a really poor rating, to be honest. Overall, his Stocks FC rating, give him a 2 out of 10. This is one that I would avoid. Of course, he's let down by his poor matrix suitability, no international utility, and no European utility. Overall, not a really good stock asset to have on Stocks FC. Next up, we've got Chris Wood of Nottingham Forest. His IPO date is on the 19th of July 2023, and his IPO price is 19p for the forward. He's got no outstanding strengths, unfortunately for him. His weaknesses are passing and ground duels, and of course he is New Zealand nationality. Last season then, so he actually played 7 games last season for Nottingham Forest when he signed for them, 1 goal. He also played 18 games for Newcastle, 2 goals for them. He had 1 game in the FA Cup for Newcastle and 3 games in the EFL Cup for Newcastle where he scored 1 goal. He did score 5 goals though at the World Cup in 5 appearances, which was really impressive. In terms of scores then, as you can see, this chart is looking pretty bleak. So he actually had no scores above 40, which is pretty shocking. Top 3 scores were 30, 30 and 26. Average of just 16. Positive then, nothing really to speak of. Negatives, no European football. Age, he's getting old now. Poor matrix suitability and no international utility. He of course does play for New Zealand, but they're not really one of the best teams on the international stage. Overall then, matrix rating, I give him a 1.5 stars out of 5, which equals a poor matrix suitability rating. Overall, as a Stock FC asset, I've given the lowest mark 1 out of 10. And if you do own any stocks in Chris Wood, my advice would be to potentially sell those. Not financial advice, of course. Always do your own research. And the final player we've got is Virgil Van Dijk of Liverpool and the Netherlands. He's of course a defender, and his IPO date is on the 20th of July 2023. His price is going to be 56p. His strengths are aerial duels and ball control. No real outstanding weaknesses for the defender. Last season for Liverpool then, he had 32 games in the Premiership, 3 goals, 1 assist. He also played 1 game in the Community Shield as well. Played 8 times in the Champions League and got an assist there as well. And for Netherlands, he had a number of international fixtures as well. 2 games in the international European qualifiers. He also had 5 games in the Nations League and 1 goal, and 5 games at the World Cup. Scores wise then, so last season he scored pretty well really, getting some pretty consistent scores, especially in the 49 range where he got 20 scores in that range, which is showing pretty good consistency there. He also had 6 scores in the 50 to 59 range and 3 scores in the 70 to 79. So he is capable of getting those high scores, but he's also regularly getting a good number of 40 to 49 range scores as well, with 20 to his name last season. His top 3 scores last season as well was 79, 75 and 71. So his average rating overall last season was 33, which is pretty solid. Positives then, so he's got European football of course next season, international utility and great matrix suitability. His age is the only negative here for Virgil van Dijk. In terms of the matrix rating and Stocks FC rating then, so the matrix rating we'll go 4 out of 5 stars, so well-class rating there in terms of the matrix suitability for the Liverpool defender. And overall as a Stocks FC asset, I've given him a 7 out of 10. Very bullish on this one. He's got the matrix suitability, I would say. He's also got the international utility and the European club football utility as well. So a lot to like here about Virgil van Dijk. And he's probably the best pick this week on the IPOs. So that was all the IPOs rated and reviewed on Stocks FC. If you did like this video, smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. If you want to start your Stocks FC portfolio today, then you can sign up using the link below. It's basically a fantasy football game where you pick players, sit them in your portfolio, and then they'll get scored based on real life actions in the Premiership games, of course, when that kicks off. You can then potentially win some shares paid out in Ethereum based on that player's performance. Anyway guys, thanks for watching as always. Sign up to Stocks FC like I say if you've not done already. There is a link in the description. Thanks for watching and I'll see you again on the next video.